It's absolutely fantastic to hear what Cornwall Council has done, and it really, Cornwall's not in a great place at the moment as far as wages go, but there's so much potential, and I would go so far as to say, based on my experience since championing the living wage, the foundation living wage back in 2015, that it couldn't happen without Cornwall. It can't happen without Cornwall Council. But actually, having got Cornwall Council on board, which is great, we now need to look at all the little people, people like me with small businesses, because actually it's going to be teamwork and a team effort to get us over the line and to reinvent Cornwall as a county that is not synonymous with low pay. Now, my own journey to the foundation living wage, the real living wage, began actually with a quest towards sustainability. I was actually looking at how to make my business, my caravan park, more sustainable, and I stumbled across an article on the real living wage, and it got me thinking, how can Mother IVEY'S actually be sustainable, truly sustainable, if we're actually paying low wages, and by low I mean below the foundation living wage, which then means that my team are more reliant on in-work benefits, which actually means I don't have a sustainable business model, because my staff are relying on you as taxpayers to fund them having worked for me. Now, it begs the question, why do any of us in business pay badly? And I would actually say nobody goes into business to keep their staff poor. Nobody does it. However, are there any accountants present? Anyone prepared to admit to being an accountant? No, marvellous. We have one. What a joy. And I'm going to be looking, unfortunately, I'm looking straight at you. That's awkward. But the thing is, none of us set out to keep our team poor, and yet our accountants are telling us that we have to control cost in business. And of course, for most businesses, wages are a very, very big cost. We can't get away from it. Now, my accountant is not telling me, of course, to keep my team poor, but what he is telling me to do is to control my costs. And it's taken me a long time. I'm young middle-aged now, but I've been working for about 30 years at Mother IVEY'S, and it's taken me a long time to realise that that wages are, yes, they're a cost, but they're also an investment in my team. And what do I mean by that? Well, at Mother IVEY'S, we offer a great guest experience. Now, in order to offer a great guest experience, I need the greatest team that I can afford. And once I've got them, and I've got them delivering that great guest experience, my guests will do the work for me. They will recommend me to other people. They will repeat book. And actually, in order to drive my business forwards, it's the repeat bookings and the recommendations that I need, and I get them from the team. I don't get them from myself, I get them from the team. Okay, I lead that team, but that's where I get them from. So what I actually say to people when I'm talking about the real living wage is, if you can't do it immediately, transition towards it. The question isn't, I can't afford to pay, but what can I afford to pay? And can I afford ultimately not to be paying the foundation living wage? And that brings me on to really what we can do as a group here, basically the leadership group here in Cornwall, to actually grow the foundation living wage. I asked Jess for the current list and a couple of weeks ago, and there were less than 50, I think it was 47 people, firms on that, and Cornwall Council, one line on that, Mother IVEY'S one line, so clearly there's no equality there, but there are 47 of us, and I would say there's a challenge for us, the challenge to grow the real living wage, and I would say to move the movement, and I would say let's be modest, let's just double it, and that's the what, to double it. And I would say when do we want to double it? I would say we've got a living wage week in November. It's November every year, so November 2020 we have a living wage week, and hopefully Jess will come back down for that with Emily. And, well, with or without Emily, they might be too busy. But Jess will come back down for it. And it would be great if, in order to double it, all we need to do, each of us, is ask one firm to join to seek accreditation. And that is really very, very doable. And if we do that this year, and then we do it next year, we'll have almost 200 accredited living wage employers in Cornwall, and will start to be noticed by people like our friends at the Cornwall Chamber, and who are represented, to be fair, so thank you very much. But we will start to be noticed, and it will start to make a difference, because the more of us that pay the real living wage, the more difficult it will be for other businesses to continue existing that don't pay it, that have a business model that requires cheap labour. And I've done the what, double it, I've done the when this year. The how, we each ask, well, there's no point asking just anybody. I would be saying, look at your supply chain. I've already got my insurance broker to become an accredited living wage employer. I've already got one of my caravan manufacturers that supplies me to become an accredited living wage employer. Now, they don't build the caravans in Cornwall, but it's great for Hull, and they do employ about 500 people, so that was quite significant. And I've already got, I do quite a lot of charitable fundraising, because I believe that all businesses need to put purpose up there with profit, alongside, if not above it. And I've got the Weybridge Food Bank, who I support through my visitor gifting. I've got them to become an accredited living wage employer. So when you look at your supply chain, when you look at your where you've got leverage with people you're gifting money to, and possibly even industry colleagues. I have got in the room a friend of mine, well, two friends, Lee and Leslie Ibbotson, and they joined the living wage movement with their residential park business and holiday park business based on conversations we had many years ago now. And only this year, another firm in Padstow, a campsite called Dennis Cove, they have just become accredited living wage. But they're becoming it because I'm talking to them. But actually, we can all talk to our supply chains, our colleagues in industry. So that's the how. And then the where, well, obviously, that's here in Cornwall. Although it goes without saying that Jess will be delighted if we in Cornwall are getting members or people to accredit from outside the county as well as from within. But actually, it is about, we're very small here at the moment, it is about driving what's going on here in Cornwall. And then it's the why. Well, I look at Cornwall and I see the low pay, and it does actually trouble me. It's a fantastic place for your kids to grow up. And how sad that so many of our children, my own included, they're all grown up now, but my own included, they look outside Cornwall. I don't mind people looking outside Cornwall for work, and I understand why some people want to go and work in London, but it is such a shame that people feel they have to. It's all about choice, and we really need to see. I mean, Cornwall is a fantastic brand. Clearly, I understand tourism and hospitality. We're a premium brand, and yet we pay our staff badly. So we're charging premium prices, and then none of that is trickling down to our staff.